On August 6 of 1945, one of the most technologically sophisticated weapons known to man was used for the first time on the Japanese city of Hiroshima. A 15-kiloton gun-type fusion weapon loaded with over 145 pounds of highly radioactive uranium, an atomic bomb codenamed Little Boy.
Damn, child. Can y'all really believe that we did some shit like this? Like, I mean, we as in like a human race, like this is crazy. Damn.
The result was over 100,000 Japanese fatalities over a period of 60 seconds.
Damn.
Though many military analysts believe that one nuclear detonation over a large populated area would be enough to bring a swift end to the Second World War, Japan was determined to fight on. Meanwhile, a second atomic bomb, codenamed Fat Man, was ready for use. With no sign from the Japanese government, the decision has been made to attack another city. This time, the primary targets will be Kokura, and the secondary target will be Nagasaki. The mission begins similarly to the attack on Hiroshima, as two weather reconnaissance B-29s were sent out to scout the targets early in the morning. The Enola Gay is back in the air to gauge conditions over Kokura, while Major Charles Sweeney will pilot the delivery aircraft, a B-29 called
Damn, child, this is crazy, man.
Boxcar. However, during pre-flight checks, it had been discovered that the fuel pump for one of the reserve tanks had malfunctioned, which significantly
When it comes to like this war shit, war tactics and all that shit, man, the US, man, they get crazy.
cut the amount of time the B-29 can remain in the air. After a short discussion, the decision was made to continue with the mission. At 3:47 a.m., Boxcar and its support aircraft, the Great Artiste and Big Stink, lifted off to Ninen Island and made their way toward the rendezvous point at Yakushima Island. Unlike the mission 3 days prior, this operation was far from smooth. 2 hours into the flight, a red warning light on Fat Man's fuse monitor unexpectedly starts flashing, which indicates that some of the bomb's fuses have been activated. Fearing the bomb is about to detonate on its own, weapons specialist Frederick Ashworth goes to investigate and discovers that ground technicians accidentally misaligned 2 circuit switches. Ashworth quickly resolves the issue, and every man on the aircraft breathes a sigh of relief. When Boxcar arrives at Yakushima Island at 9:10 a.m., the Great Artiste soon joins, but not the Big Stink. Despite being told to wait no longer than 15 minutes, Major Sweeney circles for another 40 minutes, waiting for the final.
Damn, so these boys just got a UAV just circling up in the sky, just going crazy. Watching everything, weather condition, all that shit. Like,
B-29. Unfortunately, the Big Stink got lost in dense clouds and won't make it to the rendezvous point. After receiving word from the Enola Gay that weather above Kokura offers enough visibility for a bomb run, Sweeney decides to proceed with the mission and sets course for Kokura. At 9:50 a.m., Fat Man is armed, and the crew prepares themselves for the climactic moment ahead.
Damn.
Meanwhile, weather conditions begin to deteriorate over Kokura, just as the Enola Gay has left the area. Worse yet, Japanese defenses are put on high alert after the departure of the weather aircraft, which will make the mission more difficult. Boxcar and the Great Artiste arrive over Kokura at 9:44 a.m. to find the city shrouded in clouds and dense dark smoke.
damn, they probably did some shit, got to putting a whole bunch of whatever the hell. I don't know what the hell they probably put in the air.
The aircraft initiate a bombing run, but the bombardier, Captain Kermit, reports to Sweeney that he can't find the aim point through the clouds and dense smoke. Sweeney has been strictly ordered to bomb visually rather than using unreliable radar guidance, so the placement can be as close to the target as possible. Both aircraft break off the bombing run and try again, but Kermit again can't find the aim point. Smoke from an American firebombing attack on the nearby city of Yatawa is obscuring the target, and the Japanese industrial factories in the area are producing thick black smoke. The commander of the U.S. Air Force's 21st Bomber Command, Major General Curtis LeMay, has escalated the firebombing campaign of Japanese cities following the attack on Hiroshima. Although the renewed strategic bombing campaign is intended to bludgeon the enemy into surrendering, it is now working against this mission. By the third bombing run, Boxcar is running out of fuel after spending 45 minutes above Kokura, and enemy fighters have been.
Damn, so they just kept coming back and coming back, trying to bomb their ass. That's crazy.
detected on radar. The third bombing run also fails, and Captain Sweeney has a decision to make. If he continues to wait for conditions to improve over Kokura, he risks a run-in with Japanese interceptors. He could cancel the mission and make an emergency landing in Okinawa, with Fat Man still aboard, or he could continue to the secondary target of Nagasaki, which is 95 miles away. At 11:32 a.m., Sweeney decides to make for Nagasaki along with the Great Artiste. The city of Kokura has been spared from destruction, thanks in part to the delay over Yakushima Island spawning the Japanese expression, Kokura luck, to describe the lucky avoidance of great misfortune. Now the city of Nagasaki is in danger. The city of Nagasaki is one of the most important industrial centers in the Japanese Empire. 2 Mitsubishi factories operate within the city's limits, including the Mitsubishi torpedo plant, which mass produces the infamous Long Lance torpedo. Additionally, the city of 286,000 people is home to a major port area, with shipyards vital to the Japanese war effort. It takes just 34 minutes for the superfortress to arrive at Nagasaki, but Major Sweeney is disappointed to see that weather conditions have deteriorated here as well. After deliberating with the crew for 2 minutes, Sweeney decides to take one more pass over the target. If the bombardier can't find the target, the bombing will be aborted. At 11:58 a.m., Boxcar begins its final bombing run. At this precise moment, the Japanese Imperial Supreme War Council is meeting in Tokyo to discuss a conditional surrender to the Allies. The cloud cover is still too thick over Nagasaki, forcing Captain Kermit to navigate using radar. He scans the city through the bomb site before spotting a small break in the clouds, 2 miles north of the ideal aim point. Knowing it's now or never, Kermit calls out bombs away, before immediately correcting himself, bomb away. Fat Man falls free, and Boxcar along with the Great Artiste flee from the target.
Damn, just like that. Damn. The world's most evil weapon.
To understand how Fat Man works, we first need to understand the parts of the nuclear weapon. Starting from the back, we have the California parachute tail, which was meant to stabilize the weapon when dropped from an altitude of 9,000 meters. Next, we have the barotube collector, which helps measure the altitude of the bomb. This section contains the barotube switches, radar, and timers. Moving further ahead are the 32 detonator wires connected to the firing set, also known as the X unit, placed near the charge. On the opposite end of the weapon are 24-volt batteries required to detonate the weapon. Moving to the exterior are 3 arming plugs that are removed before the bomb is dropped. These are the 4 Archie radar antennae that activate when the bomb reaches its detonation altitude. Finally, at the front of the bomb, we have 4 AN self-destruct fuses. These devices were made to self-destruct the weapon if the bomb failed to detonate after being dropped, ensuring that the weapon wouldn't fall into the hands of the enemy. Located at the heart of the weapon is the internal neutron generator. This component is responsible for emitting neutrons essential for the nuclear chain reaction. Inside is
What the fuck is going on?
a beryllium pellet and a beryllium shell, with inward pointing spikes encased in polonium, a radioactive substance that emits alpha particles. The entire neutron generator assembly is 2 centimeters in diameter. Surrounding the neutron generator is the main fission material, a highly radioactive 6-kilogram plutonium sphere measuring around 9 centimeters in diameter, encased within another concentric sphere of highly radioactive uranium-238. This deadly combination acts as a neutron reflector, increasing fission efficiency required for detonation. Surrounding the uranium sphere lies a thin layer of plastic shell made of acrylic thermoplastic enriched with boron. This component absorbs slow-moving neutrons, preventing pre-detonation. The critical components for the fission reaction are encased in a thick layer of aluminum, known as the aluminum pusher, which uniformly transfers shock waves from the explosives to the uranium core. The aluminum sphere is surrounded by 32 blocks of faster explosives, consisting of 61% RDX and 39% TNT. An additional layer of 32 explosive blocks comprised of 70% boron nitrate and 30% of TNT lies outside, forming an explosive lens to shape the detonation wave. Each explosive block contains a detonator for initiation. This assembly is referred to as the physics package, which is encased in a fixed steel case to contain the explosion of fast and slow explosives. Precise and simultaneous detonation of all explosive blocks is critical for a symmetric detonation, ensuring a nuclear chain reaction. Lastly, the X unit, an electric component with capacitors, produces electric current, distributing it simultaneously to all 32 detonators. Now let's take a look at how this nuclear bomb works in basic step-by-step format. Step number 1. Before the bomb is dropped, all 3 arming plugs are pulled one after another. Step number 2. The bomb bay door is open and the bomb falls due to gravity. When released, its internal 24-volt battery starts the timer. After 15 seconds, the barometer senses the desired height, activating multiple radar altimeters located at the front of the bomb. The barometric stage was added because of a worry that external radar signals might detonate the weapon too early. Step number 3. To ensure accurate detection of the bomb's final altitude, multiple radar altimeters were utilized. This process involves measuring the altitude above the ground and beneath the bomb through the timing of radio wave travel and reflection. Step number 4. Once the correct height was sensed, the X firing switch activates, sending signals through the 32 wires to the explosive detonators. Step number 5. The outer faster charge explodes inward, followed by the inner ring of explosives, creating a concave shockwave. Step number 6. The explosion travels to the aluminum pusher, breaking the boron plastic sphere. Step number 7. The shockwaves travel towards the uranium-238 sphere. This makes the plutonium sphere denser, compressing it further in the process. The extreme forces crush the beryllium shell, and the polonium releasing neutrons required for a fission reaction. An airburst detonation delivered from a single Fat Man atomic warhead, with a yield of 21 kilotons over the city of Nagasaki.
That is crazy.
Had catastrophic.
That is crazy.
What do you do?
What's up, man?
Hey, Daddy. What do you do, Daddy?
Nothing. What you want, man? That was crazy.
Catastrophic consequences. Upon detonation, an immensely hot and luminous fireball was formed, expanding to a radius of 222 meters, vaporizing everything in its path. Those near the blast were evaporated, and within a 760-meter radius, all
those near it are evaporated. Evaporated is crazy.
all buildings were destroyed, killing 16,000 Japanese civilians in a matter of seconds. Very soon after detonation, multiple destructive blast waves developed, moving rapidly away from the fireball. The extreme radiation zone had a radius of 1.31 kilometers. Here, Japanese civilians received a 500 rem ionizing radiation dose, which was likely fatal in around 1 month's time. 15% of survivors would eventually die of cancer due to radiation exposure. Within a 1.72 kilometer radius, the shockwave emitted was measured at 5 psi, also known as the moderate damage blast zone. Here, most residential buildings collapsed, injuries are universal, and fatalities are widespread. Most commercial and residential fires started within this area, with damaged buildings spreading fire throughout the city. Within a 2.21 kilometer radius, due to the bomb's extremely high temperature, the shockwave emitted contained high levels of thermal radiation, causing 30-degree burns and clothing to instantly ignite into flames. 30-degree burns extend. Wave emitted contained high levels of thermal radiation, causing 30-degree burns and clothing to instantly ignite into flames. 30-degree burns extended throughout the layers of skin and were often painless due to the destruction of pain nerves. This left many with severe scarring or disablement, and in severe cases, often required amputation of burned limbs. As a result, around half the people between 760 meters and 2.21 kilometers from the blast were killed from burns, debris, smoke, collapsed buildings, and radiation sickness, which translated roughly to an additional 69,000 Japanese fatalities over a period of 60 seconds. Within a 4.59 kilometer radius was the light blast damage zone. Here, damage was caused by shocks, similar to those produced by thunderclap or a sonic boom, but with much more force. Although some windows were broken over 10 miles away, the injury associated with flying glass generally occurred at overpressures of around 1 psi. This damage corresponded to a distance of around 3 miles, or 4.8 kilometers from ground zero from a 21 kiloton nuclear explosion. The damage in this area of Nagasaki varied widely, as shockwaves rebounded multiple times off buildings, terrain, and even the atmosphere. As first responders moved inward, windows and doors were blown in, and gutters, window shutters, roofs, and lightly constructed buildings had increasing damage. Litter and rubble increased moving towards ground zero, and there was increasing numbers of stalled and crashed automobiles that made emergency vehicle passage difficult. In all, around 15,000 civilians were killed in the light blast damage zone, raising the total death tally to around 100,000 over a period of 60 seconds, with an additional 86,000 injured as well.
That is crazy. Man, Chad, that's wild.